War Thunder isn't fun anymore. As a person that put in many hundreds of, well, not hundreds of thousands, but definitely thousands of hours, I think I'm at 27,000 or something like that. I genuinely don't understand why. Today I'm going to go through a couple of things as to, at least things that I think could maybe looking towards the future, I guess, where it's not so much about the tanks, it's not so much about the amount of RP you get, not so much about the amount of silver lions you get, not at the random RNG loot boxes that the game provides. No, I'm looking more at the constant battle and mechanics of the game, where it's, I mean, in this game, and in the next game you'll see, not so much the Sherman game, but it seems like every single game is a full up tier nowadays. It didn't used to feel like that. It used to feel much more, here's an up tier, here's a tier that you're supposed to be at, here's a down tier. And it's not so much that, oh, you're just some guy that plays casually and doesn't really make too many videos on it, and why do you have an opinion on this? Well, I mean, obviously, because the game in and of itself is an incredibly fun game. I've tried many times to try and get some of my friends to play it, and to be honest, we tend to avoid it. It's not really a game that's enjoyable anymore. And I feel like the reason for that, well, I feel like the reason for that is multifold. Where, yes, you can't really play high tier because high tier has so much CAS, and then if you say Russian bias exists with the Panseer, then the Russian players get all upset, and then they're like, well, we can't do anything about it. But regardless of that, I feel like there's this something that's missing, and I really hope that in time, since the new operation airstrike or air superiority, sorry, is coming out, then now that Gajin has fully released their ideas for everything, and I'll post a couple of pictures here on screen talking about the fact that we are at the most modern time period in War Thunder. All of the tanks and everything like that that we're going to be getting here are basically the cream of the crop, excluding um, what is it? Japan, Sweden. I mean, Sweden's already pretty up there. Israel, and um, technically the Abrams. What is it? A3 V2 or whatever it is. Aside from that, we're basically at the peak of what it is. So, what I really hope out of Gaijin is that, similarly to the last, well, a few patches ago, where they didn't really release any tanks, they just fixed the state of the game. They really need to look into air defenses. They need to look into the ability to take down CAS, at least in my opinion. Another reason um, that I think I'm not really having fun anymore in this game, and I don't know if this could be said for the populace or whatever not, it just feels like everything isn't worth grinding anymore. I mean, I'm at 11.7. I'm at high tier. I have the T80 BVM in Russia. I don't have any Abramses. I'm at 7 I'm at 7 in America. I'm at uh, the Leopard 2A6 in Germany. So what is that? 11.7 as well. Um, in China and everywhere else, I'm kind of sitting around that 5 to 8 region, and it's not so much that it's just it doesn't matter what BR I really play at. It's every single game I play is an up tier, and I don't really have a problem with that. It's just, how can you enjoy the game when, say for example, you're a 7.0 vehicle that doesn't have AP FSDS, and you don't have laser rangefinder, you don't have anything like that. And every other tank that you fight has it of some variation of some sort. Which brings me to my idea of hopefully with air superiority and the update that it comes out, that there will be another Operation Health, if you will, in lieu of Rainbow Six Siege, where Operation Health didn't necessarily release anything new. They changed a couple. I don't think they even changed any maps. They just made the game more enjoyable for people, and a lot of people, me myself, coming from Rainbow Six with almost 3K hours in it, where it's a game that we really enjoyed, and Operation Health was kind of like a capstone, a peak of the game in and of itself. We didn't need any new operators, we didn't need anything new. It was just improvement on what was already in the game. Now I understand that you might not get money out of an Operation Health, which is a lot of the reason why game developers, game publishers don't do Operation Healths. Um, and that's understandable. I can totally see the reason why you wouldn't want to. But for for Ubisoft, that was a really nice thing. Ubisoft is a massive AAA title, a AAA company that pushes out tons and tons and tons of titles. And they, to be honest, they really shouldn't have, because they could have just made a new game. But I really appreciate that they did, because it got that game a longer lifespan. Gaijin, what are we going on? We just passed 10 years, I think. I might be mistaken. I'll throw some of that up just to clear my boundaries. But for a game like this, that's really Gaijin's golden goose, because they've made other games in the past. Check out the Sultan Zoltan, I think is his name. He talks about Gaijin's other games that they've made, and they've all really kind of flopped. So this is kind of Gaijin's golden goose. And if Gaijin really cares about it, which I'm sure they do, considering how much money and effort and everything like that they're putting into this game, for them to kind of just leave it for scrap, which is kind of what it feels like. And in terms of updates, and in terms of let's just keep releasing new top tier premiums, let's keep releasing top tier aircraft, let's keep on just making the game pay to win, or rather, it's not even really pay to win, it's just pay to play at some points, where you can't play anywhere between 9.0 and 11.0 BR because there's nothing but premium players there. You can't play anything that has, even to a certain point, the 8.0 BR with the T55, with the three, I think there's three. There's either three or the two T55s. Considering the OF, whatever. But the T55s there, you can have an entire lineup, and I'm referring to lineup in terms of realistic battles, of nothing but T55s. And if you get down tiered, you're unkillable. The only thing that can kill you is anything with heat, which, a lot of German stuff at 7.0 is what, the Königstiger. So you're not really at threat of anything. Another thing that I've, at least for me, where I just tend to stop really playing the game purely because, you'll see in this match where it doesn't anything after 7.0 BR, which, to be honest, 7.0 is starting to become mid-tier, because we're going to be releasing tanks at 11 or at 12.0 or whatever, and we're getting closer and closer to like 14. So low tier and the progressionary, like, between high tier and low tier is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And yeah, sure, they folded some vehicles. That's great. I really appreciate that. That did great. But they also made vehicles to get to that specific BR a lot more difficult. To get into a new tier, it feels like it's forever. Especially if you don't have premium time. I have premium time and I still feel like I'm taking forever. But then that coincides with my other point, where it doesn't feel like I need to... Why grind the game anymore? Why put in the time and the effort to just get up tiered? Why even get to 9-0 if I'm just going to be fighting premium players at 10-0? Why get to 10 if I'm just going to be fighting 11-0 vehicles? And I mean, the difference between 11-0 and 10-0 isn't that much, but the difference between 9-0 and 10-0 is a massive technological difference, where you get early laser rangefinders and early darts versus basically you go from Cold War to modern day rather quickly, and I don't know if that's a problem for most people, but for me, I view that as a problem. Granted, I might be in the silent majority here, but or rather a silent minority, but I just don't see a purpose in grinding anymore. And maybe that's what made the game fun, was grinding towards progression, or maybe it was the fact that I didn't view the game in such in a different light as I do now. I mean, I put 2,700 hours in this game, I want to say. I'll throw up the number for you. It just... it really sucks that a game that I enjoy is, like, I guess running its course, where every game in its life has a positive and negative towards its life in the gaming space, where you go from games that try and stay alive forever, for example, League, CSGO, well, the CS franchise in and of itself. Overwatch is trying to do that. I mean, Overwatch is only like 7 years old, I think, and there's a couple of games that are trying to stay relevant forever by constantly updating themselves, constantly changing the meta, or or having a new idea that doesn't really that doesn't really work with, like, the foundation that they have. And I feel like Gaijin is really trying to do that. And granted, there's no other game like War Thunder. I absolutely love playing War Thunder. It's a blast back then. Nowadays, hell, I don't even see some of my friends that are avid War Thunder players playing this game anymore. It just, and it's just I don't really know how to describe it. If I could describe it in any other terms, it would be a game that was once amazing. Hell, a game I would wake up, live, breathe, sleep, and drink War Thunder. And now it's a game that I really don't want to even think about. I don't want to put any time. I don't want to, like, I don't even want to make a video on it. I don't want to stream it. I don't want to do anything with it. And granted, that's, there's a whole massive amount of content creators: Gene Van Shot, Spookston, Turney, a whole bunch of these amazing War Thunder streamers, and a whole bunch of amazing War Thunder players. Oddboss, for example. These guys get nukes all the time. I've only gotten, like, what, 5, maybe? And I would consider myself a casual player. So, is War Thunder losing its touch with casual players? Is War Thunder requiring itself to put more time in than most people are willing to? Is War Thunder is War Thunder realizing, or rather, is Gaijin realizing that, oh no, we've run out of tanks in this new update, let's just try and milk the golden goose before the end times? Do they realize that maybe their game is dying and they don't really know how to fix it? Maybe they're out of touch. I mean, their one quote unquote, I'm going to use quote unquote Operation Health, where they fixed the Silver Lions, the RP, the other stuff like that. I think I mentioned it earlier. That was amazing. I don't know if that got more players to it, but that definitely made the players who play the game a lot more enjoyable. I mean, for me, that was like a breath of fresh air. I played the game for another 100 and something hours because of that single update. But with every update where they released a new vehicle, or they released a new, they released an event, or they released some summer shebang, winter shebang, whatever you want to call it, and I just never felt the desire to grind it out. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe I'm just talking out of my ass. I don't know. But I just never felt the desire to play out the grinding events. I didn't build the little missile vehicle thingamabob and then in the last event because personally crafting events suck. To put it plainly, there's no, it doesn't make any sense to me. I've been here since the creation of crafting events. It doesn't make any sense to me. Hell, the um the event where you got the T-72M2, the Moderna, I didn't understand what I had to do there. Granted, they changed it a little bit, but it's just more complicated than it needs to be. Just make it have a set mission goal. If you really want people to grind out your game, guys, just say, hey, you need 100,000 points every 5 days or whatever, which I mean is 200,000, which is 20k points a day, which is miserable. But if you really want it, there you go, figure it out, get it yourself. Rather than making an arbitrary event in which you get more money out of the players, and then you wonder why people really dislike the events that you're putting out, because they're not events, they're just ways for you to make money. Which, again, I understand if that's what you're going for, but as a casual player myself, it doesn't make much sense. It doesn't make much sense to grind out the game, it doesn't make much sense to play out the game, and it's just an annoying fact of life and an annoying fact of being a part of this player base, because that's just quote unquote what you have to deal. You have to live with Gaijin's ability to, you know, make the player base miserable in an instant. Granted, all this is being said prior to the actual launch of air superiority, and with just those words alone, as I said prior, there's nothing in the game that can handle these jets. There's nothing that is really capable of handling these F-15s and the what is it, another 27 or something. Like that's how much that's how much it doesn't matter to me. I just would like the ability to remove them in some fashion. CAS for me has always been a problem. There's a reason why the only other quote unquote long form, the only medium form content I have on War Thunder is it's a hard CAS life, because I just absolutely despise close air support. It's just, I understand that it's part of the game. I understand that I'll never get, I'll always be a minority in this fact, because a lot of people do enjoy bombing people. Well, that sounds a little weird. They enjoy using bombs on tanks to get rid of them, because I have no idea. But hell, maybe I just gotta change my view on how I play the game. Maybe it's not supposed to be a fun game anymore. Maybe it's supposed to be a grinding game. But to reiterate all my points, and to kind of, I guess, wrap it up, maybe there might be another tangent, but in short, the game for me isn't fun anymore. I know I'm just some schmuck that rarely uploads anything and rarely talks about anything and has the most lukewarm opinions on things and tends to keep it relatively lukewarm on my streams and everything like that. But the fact that Gajin is releasing all these new vehicles and everything like that gives them a massive opportunity to create a better, I'm gonna say work environment. I mean, it's not, if it feels like work, then maybe you should stop playing the game. But it makes it feel like a more, the ability to make the game feel more enjoyable than it actually is. And I say that in terms of making it not feel like every single game is a constant up tier, not making it so every single game feels like a drag, making it so that every game doesn't just involve uh, the end of every match ending with people spawn killing. Like, I mean, even in this game down the minimap, you can see that this is 5-7 or 5-3 America, and we're spawn killing like, and the match isn't even really gone anywhere. And I don't really have I have a problem with that. It just, yeah, okay, some people, they tried fixing it, but then how can you completely get rid of spawn camping? And you know, that's been a question for centuries. Centuries. It just, there I might be nitpicking, I might be just hoping for rain in the desert. I might be hoping that Gaijin actually sees this video and actually listens to a content creator, rather than just asking for content creators' opinions and then proceeding to kind of sort of nitpick and Q&A random people that kind of made sense, but not really. It was more of just them nitpicking specific people, so then they wouldn't have to actually answer the hard questions, because I assume that their HR department said, yeah, we don't really want to answer those questions, so let's not even bring them up, because, and let's also make sure that the creator, you know, doesn't even know that we were going to answer whoever's question we felt like answering. Which is entirely subject to their own opinion, because if they want to answer however they want to answer, then that's totally fine, and it's totally up to their discretion. But I feel like continuing to ask the community, looking on the Reddit, looking on people's YouTube videos, I mean, the amount of people that make content on this game is pretty massive. It's a free-to-play game. It's quite easy to talk about and talk while playing, and very easy to make content off of. It's just, what do, Gaijin? What do you want us to do? Do you want us to complain? Do you want us to keep spending money and just let your game die? Do you want non-loyal fans? Do you just want people that have wallets? Do you want nothing but wallet warriors in your game? Do you want to turn this game into World of Tanks? I genuinely don't know. I don't know what else to say. And I guess that's the end of my rant. If you guys agreed, you guys have any comments, if you even made it this far, let me know. Like, dislike, I don't really care. Honestly, it's just a War Thunder casual player that played this game for way too long, making a video about stuff that I probably don't know what I'm talking about. But I don't know. If anyone else feels the same, please let me know. And I know this has been the most middest gameplay out there, where I just spawn die, but you know, sometimes that's just how it is, you know. You're just talking. You're just talking while playing the game. Or you're just thinking, and then you record your game, and then you want to talk about the game that you really love after the game, so then that way you're not constantly being like, oh, there's a puma, oh, I'm getting shot by a yak panther, stuff like that, you know. Go ahead and end my rant. I'll go ahead and throw some music on. And you'll see that I get Gaijined a lot in the I believe it is the A1 Sherman here, the 76 A1. And yeah, that's all I really gotta say about it. And I'll go ahead and throw in some cool tunes. And you guys all have an amazing day. And I wish you all the best. I hope you all have a very merry, merry, merry Christmas, or happy holidays, depending on what you fancy. And I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day. And I will see you all in the next video. All right, bye bye.